Yeah, so
Did you want to see those people?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, any other changes to the notes from February?
No, I have a question. I have notes that are posted on the web. Should I just go ahead and forward them to?
Everything except for February's should be posted.
I'm in.
Yeah, no, if you notice, yes, Will, if you notice that there are places where notes are missing. Please do. Oh, yeah, it looks like August and September. Right, so I sent him December and January, but I did not send him the notes from August through November. Okay, anyone want to move to approve our notes from February?
We'll all jump at once.
Yeah,
Shy, very much shy.
Cal moves. Pete second.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. One thing though that we should revisit, since we were just talking about timeline. Hi, George.
We need another two.
Yes, we do.
I don't know where.
We can scrunch a bit.
You're gonna avoid.
So Monica,
We can scrunch a bit over George Fitz.
Which way are we going?
Monica created a timeline document for us. Will and I were just reviewing the timeline document though, Monica, right before the meeting started, and we're feeling a little concerned about the pace, the proposed pace for getting everything done.
I mean, what in terms of it's like too fast?
Yes, I think that was the concern, yeah.
Well, it probably is, but I think we need to move it at this pace. We don't.
Well, one concern was that, so the public meeting has been moved to May 9th, proposed anyway. And it would not be a thing like what we did in April. The idea is it would just be our regular
Just
meeting, but we would invite the public to come and it would have a different format because we'd be presenting the plan and the goals and answering questions. But there wasn't any time that we as a committee would be meeting between then and when the public hearing is proposed for June 5th. So that was one point of concern.
So you want an extra meeting? There's a meeting on June 13th.
What's the big rush all of a sudden?
You would generally have the public hearing and then get feedback and bring that to the next ag committee meeting on the 13th of June.
What's big rush?
Well, there is I had thought the grant ended at December, but it actually ends in July. But that still, there's work to be done after that. It's not a big rush. We just want to make sure we have the
What,
public
you mean the
hearing.
town can't pay you after July? Is that what you mean? Well, no, I'm asking you straight up.
No, it's nothing to do with getting paid, but it's all about the obligation to getting the paperwork into the state.
Into Albany?
Yeah, they would, otherwise we have to ask for an extension.
Oh, Jesus, send them something, say more to come or something. I don't know. I mean, they.
I mean, they don't really get too hung up about, if you're, you've got everything 90% done, but.
Yeah.
I mean, I also understand too, like heading into the growing season, what's the likelihood that we're gonna get more useful feedback from the agricultural community? It kind of goes down the further we get into the spring and the
Oh, that's
growing
true.
season.
Yeah, you got a point.
And my thought was, like, I have the sense that this committee is sort of tired of like planning. We'd like to move on, like sort of be done with a plan and move on to like, okay, so let's like,
Do something.
let's start to do something,
Like,
yeah,
what are we gonna do? Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's,
I don't think it's a rush. I think it's, I think it's a workable time plan and I think, and it's not like, I'd really like to see, the sort of the work in the implementation kind of have some of these fall activities, like a celebration of some kind, getting the ag community together at the end of the year, sort of, I feel like that's part of the closing up the plan, so to speak, and launching into what's ahead. So,
okay.
so anyhow, I'm not saying that I'm backing out, you know,
Well,
of
good.
helping you or.
So we
but
don't need
do
a finished
to-
product by May. I mean, I guess maybe I was under. the
No, we want
mistaken
to have
impression.
something to share with the town board and so that they have.
By
I mean,
May?
yeah, I mean, we should have something for the public to start to look at. And, you know, so they can, it's not to say you can't make changes after public hearing or after everybody looks at it and they don't like it, but. You know,
Well,
so-
but then, the June 19th town board approval will be the most flexible.
Yeah, anything I would say, we need a public hearing date that has to be set. That can be any time, you know.
Because it has to be announced. 5
Yeah,
days.
right. So, yeah, but June 5th seems like it's a possibility if it works for you guys on your agenda. Or you could do it June 19th. You know, that's a town board meeting too, so.
Whatever works for you. Or could be another separate meeting day too.
Oh, yeah, could be. And then, you know, you may or you may not get public input, probably you won't. And
That late in
then,
the season.
you know, we'll see what you guys think, if there are still some changes, we should look at it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but we do need to just wrap it up, because I feel like we're just stalling and. so,
So
Monica.
all the formatting work and graphics that we talked about
Yeah,
last
we-
time.
Well, we're trying to get, we kind of struck out on 2 people that we've asked, but I was gonna ask you if you knew anyone. But I have a 3rd person I need to ask.
Is this for a webpage graphic?
No, just to do the, you know, the print layout essentially.
I do have someone who might be able to do it. I don't know if she's too busy, but
Well, let's,
worth asking.
yeah, talk about it.
Okay, so
So Erica, I get Monica, what she's talking about, how we want to end this up. And we have a meeting tonight, we have a meeting on April 11th. So that's 2 meetings before we would have a draft that goes to the public.
Mhm.
And you're thinking that's not enough time?
no, that wasn't the part that seemed not enough. It was after that getting it approved, like it's the period for getting feedback and then getting approval and
Gotcha.
finalizing it seemed very crunched.
Because that'll be just the first draft plan, you know, it'll hopefully be formatted, look like a plan. But, you know, it's not to say that it won't still go through some changes.
But we would want to seriously consider feedback if we're planned to, in case someone had meaningful feedback.
Oh,
It
yeah.
sounds like there's room for us to slow down the process after that, like if we do get substantive feedback and it requires a lot more time.
It does strike me as a little bit potentially tricky if you have your meeting on May 9th, but there's not a committee meeting before the public hearing. And which means that you don't really have an opportunity to respond in any meaningful way from comments received on May 9th before you're asking for the more formal process of the public hearing, and that could backfire if somebody came and commented on May 9th and then they see the same thing coming forward at the public hearing. That could feel like their words were being incorporated.
So maybe we move it, switch to the June 19th board
Yeah.
meeting date to, and
So
so
we
we
have
have
the
a
13th.
Do
meeting.
you at least have a chance to
Yeah.
like talk about how you're gonna respond, even if you don't make any actual changes to the draft, at least you can have like something prepared for the public hearing that's gonna recognize what you received at the May 9th.
Mhm.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
And then you'd be looking at the July meeting at the earliest for board approval.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, unless you wanted to, I mean, you wouldn't, yeah, you'd want to wait till after the public hearing. Yeah, so your approval would then be in July. Yep, the July, whatever the 2nd Thursday is.
okay,
Yeah, and I mean, again, we're still within the state's framework, as long as they know, and I've already emailed Jeff, you know, that we're on target and what. So he knows we're moving towards wrapping this up. So, okay,
great. So now
Thanks.
we have about a half hour to work on implementation. So from the last meeting, it seemed pretty clear that folks were a little tired of these like pie in the sky, huge goals, things that we were gonna, say that we wanted to see in the town or that we wanted to do, and really get down to who's actually interested in working on something and what might that look like? What kind of an implementation plan could we come up with? So Monica put a few ideas, things that had been kind of rising to the top from potential action steps, like creating a website, which would be both for farmers and for the public. Some kind of like workshops for farmers or landowners who are thinking about transitioning their land sometime in the next 5 to 10 years-ish. And what sorts of educational resources or support might be useful for them. A fall celebration of agriculture that would help launch this ag plan. Could be a whole like community-wide celebration. Farm open house,
Yeah.
which could also be part of the fall celebration. Is Tompkins CCE gonna be doing open farm days this year? Ah, great, yeah, so all these ideas are already on this sheet. Networking meetings for different types of farms or for all farms, it could be by commodity or just, kind of open to anyone who wants to come, or various other educational workshops for farmers. So the idea here is that everyone would choose either one of these or some totally different idea, something that you might have interest in actually seeing happen that you may be willing to put time into. And then look at these questions and try to answer them. So what would be involved? How would you bring this idea to fruition? What kind of time period are we talking about? And then what kind of additional support, maybe money or other resources would you need to make it happen?
People
Yeah.
that could help.
Yep.
And I don't know, but I want to ask the state because there's a lot of quote unspent funds still within this budget. And, for example, I want to ask them, can we use some of it perhaps to put the website together for? So, maybe there's a few of these implementation things that we could use some of that money for. So I will check with Jeff.
Okay.
See if we're able to move forward with that.
That's exciting.
So I'll just chime in here because I think I might have mentioned it last time, but we have contracted with someone to update the town website. And
Oh, okay.
she's well along on that
Okay.
now, so at whatever point it might be, I think. So she's actually designing it so it works compared to, we have a fairly decent website now, but it's, so, anyway.
So the
I should
question is,
connect with
yeah,
you
right,
at some point.
yeah, and if it's a separate, the big question, I guess, would be, is it a completely separate website from the town, or is it part of your website?
That was my question too,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it can be separate and then have a link or two
Yeah.
on the town.
That's
site,
my-
just link to it.
That's my initial thinking is that it should be something separate because there's so much stuff already on the town website that it would be hard for the ag info, like we want to have our own entire menu, navigational menu and everything. And so it might be hard for that to not just kind of get lost in the mix of everything else in the town, but it'd be really nice.
It's being redesigned, I don't know.
Yes,
So I don't
right,
know.
true.
Anyway, but
Yes.
you might be right, I don't know, but
Okay.
you'd want
Well,
to.
Mark, would you all be willing to host it on your server, even if it's a separate URL?
With that-
Would you all be willing to host it on your web
I
server,
don't
even if
see
it's
why
a
not.
separate URL to get?
What is the platform that your current site? is
Square.
on? Okay, and will the new one also be on Square?
No, the new one's Square.
Oh, the new one is Square.
The
Okay.
current one's Weebly, which
Okay,
is like the predecessor to Square, if I
Yeah.
understand correctly, so.
okay.
Now, do you have it on your own server here, or do you get it off the,
No,
or
it's-
you have some cloud rented thing
Yeah.
going on?
It's through, Square is its own platform, so.
So how would people get to interact with the web designer?
How would what?
How would anyone on the committee get to interact with the web designer?
as far as, I mean,
Get her contact.
it would be public access.
No, but you.
No,
you're
like
saying-
to help influence the design or to ask questions about
Right.
what she's thinking for the design of.
Different farms, we want to list on the farm page and the phone number here is wrong, and these people are selling different things now.
Well, yeah, so I think it's important,
Need to-
it would be important that somebody on the committee would have direct access to editing.
Right, that's-
My understanding was that Will was asking more like, how do we access the web designer to be able to even ask questions and like try to influence the design to say, here's what we want.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that
Yeah,
I
okay.
want to connect you
Great,
with
yeah.
her, somebody from the ag committee with her,
Okay.
if we're gonna go that route. Or we can just, if you're just gonna link to a separate site, I don't know.
You don't want to be on that committee, Matt?
Computer?
Uh-huh.
See, I need to shim something up, that'll fit.
So, looking at this list, is there anything that's listed here that you would be interested in discussing as a small group over the next like 25 minutes or so? Or a different idea that gets you excited?
What about a logo for the website and maybe even to have a flag to hang somewhere from a utility pole? And the top, on the main street, but somebody that could design a nice logo.
Farmy,
Hmm?
sort of, yeah, something that symbolizes you're farm friendly.
Yeah,
Long as the tractor, right?
okay.
That could go with whoever is talking about, website, that should be a topic.
Don't be
related
precious,
to
you got
that.
a pretty tractor too, then.
Well, or it could be its own thing, because there's a whole bunch of things that would
Maybe.
go into like finding someone to make the logo, get who's gonna help design it, like. Where are you gonna print it, what's, all of
Or
that
a
stuff.
farm, a Caroline flag that, I could put one on my mailbox if I'm doing.
If you're haying that day.
No, I've got quite a few people that call and wanna just come and help make cheese one day. Just
It's an identifier flag.
Yeah,
This is
thank
the
you.
Place.
that, and just all the farms in the town could have,
Hmm,
I don't know, I just.
yeah,
You have a sign already, it says snow crossing or something like that.
Yeah, it says slow the fuck down.
But there are, I know that in in the old days, when I worked more on agritourism, there were lots of counties that had actual signs they had up at each farm, like, part of an agritourism trail or something like that, so,
Yeah, and what's the other one
Yes.
that the gardeners
yeah.
around the county?
And there's that arc thing.
oh, the
Yeah.
art trail, yeah.
Ellis Hollow Road.
So like a Caroline Farm Trail or Ag Trail?
Well, it may not be a trail necessarily,
could
because
just
not
signify.
everyone wants random people stopping by, which it can be one of the problems with the art trails.
Yes.
It's a huge problem, because
Yeah.
they stop by as you're just starting to help a cow have a calf.
Yeah.
Hmm,
And some people don't want people stopping by at all, but this is
But that-
maybe just more like just an identifier, like.
that's what I'm thinking, look for the,
If you do a flag, Cal, this is just an opinion, says Farm Caroline and with an open on it.
Mhm.
You hang it out there by the road. They know
Yeah,
that's where you are. You take it in, nobody knows the difference. So
So-
something simple, basic.
yeah, if you lose yours, I could loan you mine.
It's kind of like it falls under the goal of raising awareness.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to lead a website conversation with whoever would like to discuss website could come over and sit with Emily. I would love to talk about what larger landowners who are maybe thinking about transitioning land in the next few years, like. You guys are more likely to know who some of those folks are, and also like, what would be useful, what? Cause we can plan a workshop, but, and you don't need to answer that right now, but I'm just saying, if you're willing to talk to me about that, I would love to talk to any of you who might be interested in that conversation.
I wonder if Todd Schmidt was some of that. There was a great guy at Cornell who's dead now. His name is George Kahneman, and in the later part of his career, that was really his specialty.
Hmm.
And it's
There's still
not something that you can cover in, a 1 hour seminar.
Oh, no, no.
Everybody's case is so special.
Oh, no, the idea is not that you try to actually help people with their transition in a 1 hour seminar, but more just like help people understand what resources are out there.
Mhm.
And what topics they're gonna need to be thinking about, and then where they can get more personalized, long-term.
Even
support.
like farm, you know, if you just go to the FarmNet site, there's tons of resources
Yeah.
right available.
Does your farm, small farms thing work with that at all, Erica?
We don't really deal with farm succession and transition because FarmNet is such a great resource for that, so there's not really a call for us.
Oh, I met a nice lady up at Farm Days who was a FarmNet rep. And I said, what do you all do? She said, well, we provide mental health support for farmers. I said, well, if the government didn't have so goddamn many regulations, the farmers wouldn't all be going crazy. I don't know if she took that back to headquarters.
They are a good bunch of people. though.
Anyone else have
Yeah, yeah, I
other
think
things
so.
that they'd,
I would really like to be involved in a conversation about that, whatever we end up calling it, but some annual fall event
awesome,
to celebrate and promote
Yeah.
agriculture in town.
cool. Does anyone else here want to be part of that conversation?
I do.
Okay. Perfect. You guys are already at the right end of the table.
I
then?
guess from what you said, I was gonna say the web, but I think the web's in good hands, so maybe the thing that you talking about, the
Okay.
succession.
I can come over, if you guys want to just turn around. I can come over here.
Okay, and then we have, what else? I mean, I'm happy to talk to anybody about the educational workshops and networking, but maybe we've used everybody.
I'll just sit next to you, Cal.
You want to talk about that, Will? Okay.
So you're gonna join us.
Talk, Will, about educational workshops and networking.
Cal, are you gonna join us here, or are you gonna work on a different group? Oh, okay.
It's been in on this farm range.
Great.
Oh.
I'll go back to my chair.
Well.
Put your head on the floor, Cal.
Thank you.
It's a good thing you're skinny. You got it through here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not qualified for that.
Gold.
Well, do you want to just?
Yes, so. Oh, so first request, like, cause we can go ahead and plan a workshop today, you know, it's gonna be just about farm transition resources.
Somebody would have put this here and then.
We could get some farm. And, you know, they do this kind of thing all the time, they do all of this thing, but.
Community and town and get together.
It
just seems to be as an all.
Decent ideas and. I got two kids I want to buy a farm.
I think that if it's there.
About educating the community and getting the community. out
Do you
there.
mean they want about your group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take that.
That's what, in my mind, that's what I'm thinking of, is an
In which
annual
case it's.
conference that can be, you know, every year.
Refuse to use the terms either. Yes.
It's to be like, you know,
So
what
unless
we're
my kids
about,
buy
if
it,
we.
they get
if we
developed.
do it for people, in the community to come, and, you know, there's a bunch of places.
How do you finance it? I don't think they
Want to be
can.
involved, I just want to know.
Dairy farming paid the bills decent.
So they think that
Farming?
the.
Well, sort of, I think that's, I think that.
So that's where, if they really want the land fee for something, it's like.
More common, more often than.
They'd have to get more creative than that other enterprises that could do that, could pay for it, so.
They both got jobs.
Right, so.
I mean, it's
In here, you know, creating a collaborative.
There are other
farming
people who
community
want to
we have
buy
here.
place.
That the farmers are supported by the town and the residents, and town residents have opportunities to get to know the farm.
Contact this, there are these things. That wouldn't be too bad. resource.
Yeah, so it's a local food production, supported by local agencies, this be.
So that people can look it up, even if they.
You know, this is what all the CFAs is
Yeah.
about, this is where you can go.
I would think By doing that, I lose any equity. That will check people's first, if they drop dead, then.
Put pieces to the farm.
So, if we were going to do something like this, I mean, what would be involved in bringing the idea to fruition? We'd have to, maybe FarmNet is, it's probably.
That's
But is there, like,
the ideal version of my head. is,
do you also have to take the CC?
Yeah. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Charternet is a really good one, but we also do quite a bit of.
We have a natural festival.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm gonna fall is the right time either, but that's.
They can do financial planning
Good time.
about
People have
here's how you should start short down building it.
But that's why you have some festival. Doesn't mean that the other festival.
Not that I believe that they have the answers.
Well, and that brings up,
Well, that's what I didn't know that
I
was.
mean, a program that CCE did
Why, yeah.
when I was first starting my farm. We got a grant to bring in some.
Overlap and have it in August or something.
Provided like one-on-one tutoring, so he would hold these big sort of workshops on a topic, you know, like taxes or financing or whatever. And those were useful, they brought up some issues or whatever, but yeah, it's a seminar, it's not gonna address like your
Yeah.
specific questions. But then following that seminar, you could make appointments and get free
Could work together.
mentoring, counseling, whatever, which is what TribeNet does. I don't know, do you have the capacity?
Put it everywhere. To do help with like business planning and.
Yeah, like that kind of things that Matt's bringing up about like structuring, right?
Yeah, I would say that when I get those questions, I generally defer to Kate. Because I feel like they are really expanding their.
Is it better for the economic development, agricultural development? Right, and it bases like, based in the.
It's a nonprofit that's, yeah, based in the castle. They provide free business planning assistance.
Why do you defer to them?
Well, FarmNet, I mean, I guess it depends on what the question is. If it's like a. FarmNet, I feel like it's more like farm transition. I feel like, you know, some of the stuff you're talking about, Matt, is like a question of how.
How we
That's-
structure this so that I can versus farm net, that's over weekend. Guy, somebody else. All this, so you can enter it, so farm net.
Yeah.
And farm net also. has farm.
And then you punch him in the face.
So.
We're trying to.
I mean, I had a couple of conversations.
August, which time, still working, most people haven't started,
I'm just.
but, you know, it's early, they're not different, but, you know, you're not gonna have fun.
How do you make that decision? The decision will be made for you. Essentially what they said. But if you wanna make it and be proactive, it's gonna be made for you.
Mid-October.
The active. The only thing you can do about that decision is how you feel about it. So.
I hate to think that it's not autonomous. Yeah, sounds
Each
like.
person takes something different away from it. But for me, it was, if I don't sell out, I'm gonna end up losing it 3 years down the road. Financially, you do the work, you get hired out, you're gonna go down the hole, so.
Seems like.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
make the decision and you have to figure out how you're gonna make that decision, or you go back to.
People could be like, oh yeah, there's something that said, maybe something that can go
That's my
to
investment,
on a
and I
weekend
feel
in
okay about
summer,
it.
that it would be,
Or
or it could be a way to
You
generate.
just
enthusiasm.
curl up in a ball and say,
And recognition that, oh, this isn't, you know, trying to.
So maybe it's not,
Repayers,
maybe it's
for
not
example,
paid
might
as
be
the
harder
concern,
to try
cause
to
I guess I was
do
hearing
things,
before that you were
specifically
thinking about your
that,
kids.
you know,
my
try to-
kids need to know how to
But
find,
but
figure
not about
this out.
fundraising,
Right.
you need
To
to know
get
that
into
it's set on.
And that's where Kate would be.
That's where Kate.
And are they, but are your kids willing to consider developing different enterprises besides the other? Like, are they open to exploring other?
I got one, name with the mushroom idea.
Okay.
And he's got somebody who wants to transition and come into selling mushrooms in restaurants. And the guy wants out, he's done it for a number of years.
So I think one of the big
Transition in
challenges,
it.
like, want to get it.
And I think, I mean, Americans are that.
Like a weekend.
I feel like they would But they have like important information.
So that's what I'm thinking, is people need to figure out avenues they can follow to start ownership and all that.
I mean, it seems to me that the challenge is the price of land and therefore your financial investment, right? And what you need to recoup.
It's everything I got.
Right, it's like,
Yeah,
it's
but even if it's
it's
three,
higher than
well,
what.
yeah, it's like even if it's 3 or 3 or.
Oh,
it's still be
right.
valued.
So like, you gotta figure out, that's the challenge. That's where it's like, I think things like selling your development rights, like doing farmland protection. That kind of,
But it's like.
So you can still get your investment.
you get your investment back while you're transitioning into.
But by also by selling your investment rights, you also screw the next generation.
CSA people.
Because that's what, they don't have development rights on their property now. So when they get to the point where they have to let it go,
Well,
they
but
may
they're,
not show up to
but they're not relying on that. I guess the difference is that they're not relying on that land as their retirement, like they.
But once you make that step for a large amount of property, that's what's become your retirement. That's my point with everything that I've always said, is I put 100% buying and purchasing.
Something which you're.
Right.
That's.
But that is a model, right, and that's what your generation did, that is.
But the next
But-
generation.
They're gonna need a different model because that, you can't keep doing that same model.
That's the problem.
So a different model, it's like, you know, some farmers are getting super creative, younger farmers. They're either buying land that has protections on it, so they're buying it cheaper. And then they're setting up separate retirement accounts and they're developing a farm enterprise where they're planning for enough profits that they can actually put money into a retirement account instead of considering the land.
That's where you bring in other people.
Yes,
You know.
to help you think
I think
creatively.
they don't necessarily have.
So
to,
who would,
you know, be.
the best thing to do
I think the hardest thing is
like help people to think about, beyond the existing models that you're how to thinking creatively.
You mean including farmland protections.
Yeah, yeah,
Cheapen the trailer.
other things too, like, I don't, I mean, I don't wanna end up going too far afield here or creating like.
So that could be like
Too big a series of workshops that it's like more than people are gonna be able to attend. For me, the starting point for this was, there are some pretty large landowners in this town who are going to be potentially transitioning their land in the next few
Those of
years.
us around.
And I definitely got the criticism of like, this plan is largely focused on like the farmers and like niche smaller farms. And so I want there to be something that we do that is
That's what it's like.
large landowners
Some
rather
committee.
than.
It's gonna happen.
And this
Yeah,
seems like
farm festival.
the thing, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work. Crystal and I, we can go off and like come up with a little series of workshops and like you know, to do that, but I wanna make sure that.
Here's one family that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many others?
Right.
There are but they need guidance as in this program is on this agency. And this program, so if you have one or two experts come in and they combine their expertise. Said that are not, and somebody else recommended and say, these programs are here, these programs are here, they kind of overlap here. If you go this way, you can apply to this, if you kind of this direction, you go to that.
And ideally,
Like this information to people.
ideally, it's more than just conceptual information, like ideally, they'd say, here's this farm. This is the situation they were in 5 years ago. Here's the resources they had access to, and here's how they have figured out.
And 5 minutes of. Make it so that it's broad, and then you can sit and say you need to contact this, and this, or more specific information.
So I got it.
Maybe somebody's nice car there.
Yeah.
What residue there is. Being carried on, if there's a body in some area, he's been gone for a while. I mean, George Conway was dead. About 2015.
Was he in the same department that Todd is?
The same overall.
The
It's all
nice
ag- it was all
ag
ag.
economics.
My wife works
It
here.
was all ag- ag.
Maybe.
My wife works for Costco.
Oh, really?
She is sports, she's one of the sports staff.
Oh, yeah, okay.
5 or 6 of them.
Uh-huh. Todd the kick.
So, Todd, there's another woman.
Okay.
It's very good, knowledgeable.
Well, even if it's.
So it's that, you know, that's.
Tangentially related. Yeah.
See what's left over. Yeah, he was well organized. And he did a lot of that, but he also has been dead for 9 years.
I think that would be.
I think he was kind of somebody.
It's different than just
3-4.
Did you ever watch Weekend to that argument?
No, I keep thinking of Daniel Kahneman when you say it's Daniel Kahneman, that book that I loaned to you, that like fast and slow.
So
Oh,
focus.
it's like an economy, big economist to be in about. Oh, yeah, okay, how that's smart.
Support you and try them. Individual.
George Conway was trying to think it out and the whole, if you really want to get some emotion going, like, don't come out, if you want it elsewhere.
It's not just a bunch of.
Pour a couple beers down Todd Smith Road. And get him talking about the little back in states, because Todd Smith had a portion of it. And he was meant to pass.
Sort of like.
Yeah.
That problem.
Small.
Like. University.
Yeah, I know, trust me, trust me, yeah, university.
Take a beer, you need Todd, really proud on top.
Live food.
And I was in it for a couple of years. I did that.
Yeah.
Like Howard Conklin, you know.
Yeah, I know Howard.
So we need to,
Great.
oh,
And again.
yeah, we got, consider this a 2-minute warning, folks, to start wrapping up, 2 minutes.
You're not related to boss up. I mean.
Question, when would it make sense? We were gonna do. Late fall,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
like November.
Yeah, I mean, my kid plays farmer and he finishes up early October.
Okay, so they should be.
Yeah.
Okay. And just like a weeknight evening.
I think something.
Or a weekend.
A weekend probably would be better.
I don't know.
But if you got a weeknight, it might work.
Weeknights are hard to do, I guess.
But so there again, if you want to be a farmer, give up something. So Friday night, date night is going to seminar instead of going out. and drunk up. I mean, come on, I gave up a lot to be a farmer. And I didn't have any fun. It didn't hurt me.
Oh, hell, man.
That
wasn't all bad.
It was fun to drive down the road with a big tractor.
Well, it was fun to open that 1066 up in here at top too.
So this is.
But, as far as help or resources, if you're willing to help with this, like, I think you and I could probably get the people and come up with the details. But I am thinking that if we get people who show up there and then they're interested, but they need more support, we do wanna make sure that we can offer that. I don't know if that's something that.
If you put together a list of people who are willing to sit down and offer them what support, so that somebody can sign up, like farming or whatever. Whoever in this. Sign up. Sometime in the next 3 weeks, I can contact you and we can do one-on-one support. So it gives them an information, gives them a contact, and then they follow through on it after that. It doesn't have to be that night, but just open the door and make contacts.
Well, that's why I was thinking that it's not as useful to just present sort of conceptual information, it's much more useful. If you can't actually get the farm family partner to get the farm family to get them to come and be a presenter, it's sometimes hard. But if the person who helps them has like written up their story or can sort of present it as like, okay, here's a family. And, here's a little bit about their story. Okay.
The person that I think is very knowledgeable is currently doing the transition. But went through his father, Russ is, I'm sorry, he's the smartest guy in the room when he walks in. He doesn't talk to people like me because he already knows what we have to say. He's seeking somebody who's smarter than him, which is very hard for him to do. I'm very impressed with his knowledge, and if he was willing to apply that, he'd take me a half hour.
First step.
You said he transitioned to become the owner of this. Yeah.
He purchased the farm off his father 30-some years ago.
The process now, turning it over to
His boy Austin and Tyler are in the process of partnering up. Perspective on both ends. So off the top of my head, and he may say, oh, it's nothing that I can do or want to get, but you ought to talk to this person and this person. And for me, that's resource.
I could definitely see just doing it like farmers.
Yeah.
It's not like a,
Lots of.
Yeah. I will also say that part of the grant funding that I get is supposed to.
I'm sorry.
So I feel like one option. We need, once we've got a
Transition. Stranger still is a part of the
Yeah.
transition.
Thank you though, thanks for humoring me and talking about that.
Anyway, the question I can ask you, so I was just talking about, Bill and I were talking about maybe one thing.
I think
We
I think
should
the Beck
also
family has some connection with Cornell. I think,
Russ?
yeah, so I think they'd be amenable to.
Meeting,
Did folks
so
capture,
you know, where we're at,
An introduction to what.
yeah.
I told Russell, that'd be great.
So maybe after they.
did folks capture some notes from your smaller group conversation?
Yes, but written in the way that were written for me.
Smart.
So can I make a request for each group that was talking about an idea? If you could just write up the summary of like what your conclusions were about what you might want to do, when, and what resources would be needed, and send that to Will to be included in the notes for this meeting?
I nominate you for.
Yes, I can do that for our group, yes, I will do that. Well, hopefully tomorrow.
She was in the military.
Okay, and I have my notes. You guys, how many more groups were there? Were there three?
I think
groups
there
or
were four
groups? Okay.
total. So Monica, Ryan,
Mhm.
Emily, and I
Okay.
will all
We'll
send a
notes
summary to you,
Bill.
Will.
Okay. And maybe copy me because I need that info.
Or I can
Okay.
forward it even, but,
Yep,
okay.
great.
Were you in a group for?
I was loafing and then I joined the web group briefly. Really
Okay, I just
So
wanted,
four people, Emily, me, Monica, and Ryan.
yeah, I just wanted
Oh.
to capture who was in. the-
Oh,
this area is, I think, considered at some risk in terms of being lost as agricultural land. And of course, this land is also part of the character of the town of Carroll. What I'm working on in response and is, but, okay. What about purchase of development rights? And is that a possibility for the town of Caroline to focus on permanent protection of this land through purchase of development rights? And of course, it's not just protecting the land, but it's also become a pretty useful tool for transitioning farmland from one generation to the other. So I've got some preliminary numbers. Again, the ARPA covers about 4,300 acres, I believe. No, 4,100 acres. Okay, and so around 1,900 acres falls into that agricultural land class. And then there's another 600 or so acres that fall into the residential / agricultural classification. So we're looking at about 2,500 acres. Just these two categories of land. And there's two things I look at when I look at potential purchase and development rights area. One is, what is the difference between the value of the land for agriculture and its value for development? Okay. And subtracting the full market value of the land from its value as agriculture, that's the value of the development rights. Okay, so, and it looks like the, let me see. Sorry, I don't have that. No, I thought I had, I don't have that number. But traditionally, the sort of the sweet spot has been the value of the development rights for an acre of land should represent about 60 to 65% of the full value of the land. That's just to make it worth it to the farmer to sell their development rights.
So in
So,
other words, the farmer realizes about 2/3 of the market value of the property when he sells development rights, is that what you're saying?
the 2/3 will be the value of the development right, and the property, of course, the 1/3 is its value as ag.
Mhm.
But the farmer would be limited to just agriculture.
Right,
Yeah,
in perpetuity, I mean, that's
In
it, that's a
perpetuity, yeah.
deed restriction. And you're saying that based on your experience, that's kind of the point at which farmers perk up and get interested.
yeah,
If it's, say, 50-50, they're less interested.
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So, again, I'm looking at it, preliminarily. And again, this is very preliminary. I've got some questions regarding the land values to actually use. But, possibly $7.5 million. Okay,
Billion or million?
Million.
Okay.
yeah, I'm not the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah,
He's
no,
not Carl Sagan.
th-
He'll
this
do
is,
it, he can do it.
this is just a very preliminary figure.
I just didn't hear you.
Yeah, just to give us an idea of what it might cost. Now, with the state funding,
Guys up here want
the
some of this
anticipation
stuff.
is that this is not coming out of the pockets of the town of Caroline.
Well, coming out of somebody's pocket.
Okay, yeah, but hopefully it's spread out over the 20 million state.
Yeah, just like everything else they do everywhere.
But even if the town of Caroline were to fund 25% of it, and this is over a 20-year time period, it would be costing the town on average about $100,000 per year. These are my preliminary numbers, and the reason I'm giving them is I'm really posing the question, is this something you want me to continue to pursue in terms of fleshing it out, the proposal for insertion in the plan?
Are you asking for opinions at this point or just?
Is that
Yeah, I mean,
the group?
Personally, I think it's a good idea to at least put it in the plan, but I want to make sure that my numbers are correct before it goes into the plan.
Would
Right,
be-
you want to double check your own
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
Sure,
Would it-
naturally.
When you say putting it in the plan, I mean, we had talked previously when Crystal had presented sort of like a whole menu of land protection options. My takeaway from our conversation was we'll include all the options in the plan, not specifically saying like, we think the town should fund this or that, but just like any farmer who's interested, any landowner who's interested has the freedom to like choose from all of these options. So it was more like an educational piece to have all of the options in the plan. So when you say putting it in the plan, do you mean like, yeah, just fleshing out like if someone were, or if the town were to pursue PDR, this is what it would potentially cost? Or are you suggesting, do we, as a committee, do we want to like recommend that the town do this as part of our plan?
That's really my question. Does the committee want to recommend that the town of Caroline pursue this again, this is just a recommendation, okay? And it will have to go to the town board. And actually, it would be the town board that would be setting up the program. But does the
But we,
committee
as
want
the
to-
ag committee, would be advising the town board
Oh,
on
yeah.
whether we think they should do that or not. I have a feeling that's a longer conversation than the 20 minutes or so that we have
Well-
left here, but any initial thoughts from folks? Yes.
Well, I'm a little skeptical of George's numbers, especially the 100,000 a year. I'd want to explore that with you somewhat in depth. And my general predilection is that this isn't a role for town government. Of course, then that raises the question, well, then just whose role is it and does it belong anywhere? So, but you know, those are my knee-jerk reactions at this point. So,
My reaction is, doesn't matter which side of that knife you grab, I'm gonna get cut either way. If you say, let's go for it, I get screwed on the tax end. If you say, let's not go for it, I don't get any money. So either way,
Well,
but-
again, this is.
it's
The
beats
point is,
knee-jerk reaction.
this could just be beginning of a discussion within the community.
Mhm.
And one of the questions too is, okay, let's say it's gonna be $120,000 per year. And the reason I'm talking about this number is the state's grant program is extremely competitive. Okay? This money that the town would be putting up will make its applications of its farmers much more competitive. And often what happens in these programs is that the state pays 75%, it's still 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah. The local match is 25%. And often what I've seen happen is that a lot of the local match comes out of the farmer's pocket.
how so? I mean, this is money paid to.
Because they ended up, to get the state money, they end up having to donate at least part of the value of the development rights as part of the local match.
I don't know, it sounds a little like a shell game to me, but that's my
But it sounds like you
skepticism.
could also say that, too bad we didn't get the match this year, so we can't give out those
Well, you could.
things, maybe
you
next
could
year better.
Reserve it for the next year.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so,
Well, like the town of Dryden, didn't they came up with the match on Sherman's property. Where the town actually, so the farmer didn't have to lose that full value, the town
Yeah.
paid the different, the 25%. So, that's an example of a town,
Stepping in.
stepping in and
Yeah.
putting up some money to
Yeah.
help.
And then can't we argue in Caroline that?
We can
like,
argue.
this, oh, well, yeah, in general, yes, we do, in general. But
Yeah, sure can argue.
couldn't we argue to the county or to the city of Ithaca, hey, you should kick into our
No,
PER,
that's
whatever
a
that,
whole
that
different
fund.
program.
Because we've got we've got the drinking water, don't you want us to not like develop this badly, it's.
I have tried that already.
Yeah, and they don't buy it.
George, I'm kind of, where's this been done and where has it worked? Can you just give me a,
Where,
yeah, like,
Town level.
or in New York State or in.
this is New York State.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
this is, and it's also, the town of Ithaca has a program like
The
this.
town of Ithaca has a program, that actually, yeah, I set up way back when I was a young planner.
Did
But
they have the town then in it formed?
Huh?
Back when you were a young planner.
yes, it was.
I thought I remembered something like that a lot of towns in Pennsylvania, rural towns were doing things like this.
Well, Pennsylvania it's really big, Pennsylvania. They've been doing it for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
I admittedly got my original training in Lancaster County.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but again, this is an idea, and by the way, yeah, my numbers, I actually went into the, using the boundary of the ARFA, identified the 85 to 90 parcels within it. Okay, and then use the assessed valuation to set the values of the land. And again, I can do that in Tompkins County because you've got the county's assessment.
Yeah,
department.
full assessment makes it easier.
What I also did, and I need to consult with Monica and Crystal about this, was I used the ag values based on soils. Okay, so I could come up with a average value of, actually, it was just the top three. What is that farmland worth?
Mhm.
So that was how I was sort of estimating the value of, or the agricultural value of these lands versus their full market value.
Well, two quick questions, and that might dispel my skepticism, or at least part of it. So such payments are made over a 20-year period then?
The programs are generally planned out to be over a 20-year period.
So the payments are made over a 20-year
No,
period?
the farmers get their payment in one lump sum.
So that calls into question this $100,000 a year. I mean, would the town
Yes.
have to sell bonds or something to get the money up front?
Well,
I mean,
again, if,
Well, you're saying it was gonna cost the town 100,000 a year to cover 1.2 million,
no, it's 1.8.
1.8, all the more.
So then they have to do a municipal bond in order to pay for it, and then it pays the program.
Or
Is
again,
that correct,
And then it
George?
comes
Is
back
that the way it works?
but again, if
Service
you
that.
set up the program, the odds of it's going to take a couple years before even a farm gets a successful application with the state. So hopefully you've been building up this fund so that you've got the funding to cover the.
I don't like it then with interest over a 20-year period, now that interest rates are starting to become more traditional. I don't know, I guess I'd wanna push the numbers around, but
Well,
it
so
makes me uncomfortable.
I'm just thinking of it in light of our conversation just a few minutes ago.
Right.
Pete, like, the dilemma of the farmer who has worked his whole life, put everything he has into the farm, might actually have kids who want to take it over,
Sure.
but who can't afford to buy it as a farm unless the
Well, I
farmer
guess
gets
I would
shorted
go,
on his.
I would look to private foundational money. I have a real heavy duty bias against government grants of all kinds, so
Well,
that is coloring my
and
my
again,
skepticism, my
this is
remarks.
just one approach. And yeah, there's other approaches too.
But could you support at least George spending a little bit more time on it to make sure that the numbers are
Oh,
firm?
by all means,
Getting-
I mean, you know,
getting a little
research
clearer.
research is good.
Yeah.
So yes, by all means, and, you know, prove me wrong on the numbers. It doesn't really matter whether I'm right or wrong, because I'm
No,
not the
there's no
decision
wrong,
maker, but
there's no wrong.
Oh, there might be, but
leave it to me, George. I'm sure I can find you one.
George, I think I heard you say that the farmer would give up all development rights. But when the Danby folks came in, they were discussing how it's actually more inviting for a farmer to be able to have some amount of
Yeah,
development for the value added part of the.
If you
farm.
have 50 acres, you keep 2-3 acre parcels out of that 50 for developable and then
yeah,
sell the rights on the rest of
And
it
give 'em to
so
your
that you
kid.
can sell, they can split it up and each have a farmette
yeah.
of 25 acres.
And
So you have to plan ahead
Mhm.
on that so that there's
Yeah.
ability to develop a small portion of it.
so does the farmer end up with two lots when they plan ahead, or is
No,
it that
if you say we're gonna
program-
take out 5% of 50 acres
Mhm.
for developable property, and then the other 45 acres becomes whatever.
Yeah.
Then you've got that much land, so if you split it or split it 3 ways, you still have a 20-some acre, 15 acre parcel with an acre or 2 acres that they can develop with that parcel and with this parcel and with this parcel, however you divide it, as long as you keep a percentage of that back.
That's actually a key part of the process, and it's like,
Okay.
it's in the very beginning of the process where the landowners decide what land they want to conserve and what land they might want to reserve for future development. Couple of house lots, but they have to be mapped. Okay, and that's.
It's very
where-
complicated.
Yeah, it's the discussion. So, and again, PDR has actually been proven to be a pretty useful estate tool and also for transitioning farmland. Unfortunately, it works a lot better in Lancaster County because they're funding their own, and like a farmer wants to transition out, they have a couple years for the county to set up a purchase and development rights package for that farm. And so the county can purchase the development rights from the farmer. That becomes his retirement. And then the farmer can sell the land to a younger farmer or distribute it to their children at 1/3 the cost.
2/3.
Okay, so, or sometimes what happens is, okay, there's a farm. One sibling wants to take it over. But they cannot afford to buy out their other 3 siblings for the farm. They sell the development rights to the farm, and that gives them the cash to pay off the other 3 siblings. So again, I'll just, flesh this out for you
Yeah.
guys, for you to consider.
No, I think that's a good idea, George.
You put it on paper and then they can look at it.
Done.
No, I didn't mean to discourage you from doing the research and following up with it.
Yeah,
I was more addressing the alternative that Erica mentioned, that is something we want to recommend to the town.
So George, one of the goals of our plan is to have suitable land resources remain available for farming.
Yeah.
So this is one of the tools that can help that. And we had the town of Danby come and talk to us about a
Yeah.
full array of tools. So when your question is, would you do more work? I can tell that you want to have accurate information. And so I would encourage you to do that work. I would say that this committee is moving towards recommending a toolbox to come up with
Yeah,
ways to keep farmland
Yeah.
resource available, but not recommend one particular one. And I would also say that there's a lot of educational work that needs to be done about the PDNR or all these to the landowners in the town of Caroline, and that should be a high priority based on a comment that
well,
made earlier.
Which is what Matt and Pete and I were, and Crystal were discussing,
Yeah.
was some workshops for this fall.
yeah, and again, there's 200+ acre parcel tracts, farmland within the ARPA here. But again, let me just write it up. and
Yeah.
Let the committee decide.
That'd be great.
Where
That's a good
you wanna
idea.
go with.
So would we be able to look at that for next meeting?
Oh,
We're-
definitely.
Okay, great.
Before the next meeting,
Before the next meeting, great.
put my feet to the fire.
Yes.
George, don't work too hard, because it makes the rest of us look bad.
This isn't work, this is fun.
So split wood, but I don't wanna do it every day.
Well, yeah. Groucho Marx said, I love my cigar, but I do like to take it.
Did we lose
So-
someone?
We lost
I didn't mean
Kristen.
to interrupt, I just saw the activity.
Yeah, no,
Sit,
it's
there's an
open.
empty chair,
Oh, wow.
So,
and you can
I need a
grab,
chair?
grab the last chocolate cookie.
I forget your first name.
I'm okay, I've had all the chocolate cookies I
Chris.
need today.
I'm sorry.
Chris,
so
Hello,
Chris.
how are you?
that's my show for the night.
Great. Thanks, George.
Yeah, thank you, George.
You want to introduce yourself?
Some of you know me from.
You're the food man.
Are you
Yeah.
Shanty?
Yeah, I am juicy.
I'm Erica. Nice to meet
Wait,
you.
did you
How do you
catch your name?
spell your name?
Chris is my name, but
Chris is-
Juice is my. Forego, yeah.
What's your last name?
Turner,
Turner. Okay, Chris Turner.
Chris Turner, yeah. I'm opening up a business right across the
Oh, are you?
street. Thursday is my opening day. I just came to
Exciting.
say, hey, how are you? Saw activity over here.
So what are your hours?
Right now, Thursday through Saturday, 11 to 7, pending everything. 3 days open constitutes as 6 days of work for me.
Yeah, I'll stop by tomorrow. I'll get something to eat.
Oh, you.
I live right around the
Thursday's not
corner.
Tomorrow, it's next Thursday.
Wrong
Next
Thursday.
Oh, I don't know if I can wait that long.
Next Thursday is the 14th.
14.
Yeah, Thursday the 14th, 11 to 7, pending all the other BS I gotta deal with.
Yeah.
Are you on the local listserv yet? Cause you could advertise right on there.
Oh, I'm advertising on social media and pounding the ground in Ithaca right now I'm not trying to be in Ithaca yet. Cause it's just me. I lost my administrative and my window person, so it's just me. So to be small volume here is probably better.
And it's gonna be what kind of business?
So it's Carolina style barbecue, Jamaican and Polynesian food. I'm
Yeah,
working on the
sounds
menu.
tasty, doesn't it?
I just updated the menu for supply yesterday and today. JuicyShanty.com. Go ahead, check it out.
You guys came from Durango?
Yes,
From where?
Durango.
Oh, yeah, Colorado?
yep. Holy shit, what a crazy place that is, and I'm happy to be here where I'm welcome to do my bidding and be myself.
Durango is constraining to you?
Oh, yeah, so totally exclusive to my food truck culture, street food
Really?
culture.
I mean, I thought that was cowboy country out there. I didn't know that the
Was.
elites had gone all the way up. Yeah, but that's down in the southwestern corner of the state, isn't it?
Yep, yes, sir. It's fixed,
It's, sir,
fixed.
it's fixed. Is that
There
kind of
will-
like fixing a
so-
horse?
So to give you an idea of the economy there is that it's all is welcome if you're a local. how can I be plain about it? There's no right to work in the street right away. There's no permitting existing for a food truck to exist in that space there, in the city right away. And what I illustrated last time when some of you saw me, was that the part of the lucrative meaning of us coming here as opposed to being in Ithaca, my partner got a job at Cornell, backstory, is that this place didn't have so many rules and regulations as goes zoning.
Yeah, get in there fast, buddy.
Hey, man, like I said before, no horse in the race. I will say that forever and always. I do not care. I want to be compliant, be a contributing member of the community. And to add to it here and to, actually, I'm looking to shatter some flavor profiles around not only just here, but down there in town.
Well, I'm looking forward to a
Yeah.
place where I can get
Just,
some dinner.
I hope you're ready
Be
for,
peace to your neighbor.
break out the toms,
Yeah.
cause that's what I'm bringing.
It's better.
Bring out the Toms.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a way to dial it back a little bit. 'cause I
Break out the toms. I'm sorry, I'm playing to the audience, the overall audience, basically. Yes.
Maybe you have a version for the
I'm
over
being-
seventies.
I am being ageist in that. But yeah, it's definitely flavorful, everything's from scratch. I do not cut corners,
No.
and I'm gonna be smoking meat right there across the street, and it's gonna smell like it does in the winter time, cause so many people around here are, putting cherry wood on their fires, and I think that's a sin. Cause that's what's wood source I can find around here, and I'm used to apple and peach.
Fruit trees.
And I'm definitely the fruit nut guy and not the Texas style guy.
Do not use
It's
basswood.
wasted in the fireplace, you said.
No, sir, no.
I think he just.
A smoke should be a no,
Yeah.
not a mouthful.
I think he just speaking for himself.
So Chris, you've walked into the Caroline Ag Committee.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Oh, man, I'm looking for locally sourced farmers,
There you go.
to figure out,
There you go.
there's cheese.
Yeah,
Excuse me. I was looking for locally sourced farms, especially for pork.
Well, let's introduce ourselves to Chris. Do we have time?
we have 2 minutes.
Okay.
We
I
also,
I just
we-
saw activity coming over here and I just. wanted
yeah,
to
we
say-
could
yeah,
also
no, but-
conclude the meeting and then whoever is able
Yeah.
to can
Right.
hang out and introduce
Yeah,
themselves.
absolutely.
So why don't we do that, just
Okay.
so anyone who feels like they can't hang around can go and we could end the recording. I think just in conclusion though,
Mhm.
so the 4 people who led smaller discussions, please don't forget to send your notes to Will. Our next,
CC to Monica.
and CC Monica, and our next meeting is the regular second Thursday,
And we
Which-
hope to have a,
which is May 9th.
hope to have
April.
Oh,
pile.
oh my God, April, you're right, it's April 11th.
It's gonna forget to
Sorry.
send notes.
Is it gonna be the ninth or? is it-
No, I'm making a note to
No,
myself.
it'll be the 10th, won't it? Because March
April
10th.
11th is our next meeting.
Wait a minute. Today's the 7th.
April 11th, yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Add 7 and subtract 3, so I had 4. Yep, 11, got it.
Yep. That's it.
And any other, yes, Don,
So the committee that I was working on with Ryan, which is about having an event for celebrating agriculture. If we wait until next month or the month after that to get started, we may be too late. So
I thought you were
the
talking
question I
fall,
have
though.
is, if there's a group of people around this table that are interested in working on something, why can't we work on it? Why does it have to have a blessing of the full committee?
Are
oh,
we talking about the fall though, Don, or not
Excuse me?
necessarily? I thought we were talking about the fall for that.
I think
or
we're
not.
Well, so
potentially a little
the
early.
problem with the fall is we have a Brookendale Apple Festival, so we're trying to make it off, not be in direct competition, far enough away.
Going a little bit earlier to sort of, split the uprights on the big town events going on.
Yeah,
So-
it'll help if you guys,
that's great.
just at least for one. meeting, it'll help.
No, I feel like if there's a group of folks who have the energy, I mean, that's clearly in line with the stated vision and goals of the committee. And if there's a group of folks who want to put energy into that, I don't think it's something that we as a committee have to sanction.
If you want to take over the
Agreed.
zucchini festival. you
To the committee.
Ah,
Take over what?
The
But that's-
zucchini festival.
I think we were thinking maybe ideally that we'd come back next meeting and have some like,
Cool.
here's some concrete
That's great.
proposal options sort of things.
Very cool.
So try to keep it moving along.
Yeah, I appreciate the enthusiasm.
I
We're
like
gonna get a
that.
lot busier.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Yeah.
Put me in that committee and maybe we can.
We'll bring Chris into
combine it
your
with the farmer's
discussion.
market day and do special
Yeah,
publicity.
that's, you were literally number one on the list, reach out to Emily about connections to the
Nice.
community center, so.
Okay,
Cool.
does that wrap us up then for the evening?
Right.
Thank you so much.
Monica wants to join.
Yeah, thank you to everyone. Thanks, George, for your presentation. Thanks, everyone, for showing up
If I could add any.
continually and for your
I get a prize for
participation.
showing up.
You
Doc.
do, you get a participation medal,
Oh,
Pete.
thank you.
Gold star.